What's up, YouTube? Today I got this 2012 Honda Civic with the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder. I'm going to be showing y'all how to do a tune-up and a valve cover gasket. Anyways, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so I can continue to make videos like this to make your life easier. Let's get started. If you notice, it's been running down. All that wetness back there, it's been seeping out, running down the side of the block. That's why we're changing it. And I recommended a tune-up based on mileage. And I'm going to have the coils and everything off the car, so that makes for less labor. So we told the customer, if he wants to do the tune-up, we're not going to really charge him no labor, because I'm right there at the spark plugs anyways. We're going to grab us a flathead screwdriver. Take this little cover off. Easier said than done, I'm guessing. Don't want to break it. These little rubber grommets right here, and pop that grommet off because it's blocking my bolt. And push that back into this hole right there. Alright, now we're going to pop, let's see here, I'm going to move this whole entire harness, so pull back on that clip, pull that out. This might be the first valve cover I've done on one of these engines. I'm not positive, but since we're going to be taking off this alternator wire, we're going to disconnect the negative battery terminal, of course, always. Grab a 10 millimeter, move that out of my way. They don't give you much room to set stuff on this car. Alright. Just leading that out of the way so it's not going to touch. And it's a 10 millimeter on the alternator too. Do not lose your bolt. Started a couple turns. And now we're going to unplug our coils. Grab you a little pick. To assist you, a little tab, even though you push. Toyotas do the same thing to me. Just kind of pull up on it, not too crazy light, because you'll break it. Alright, now it kind of slides in right there. See a little slot? We're just going to lean that out of our way so we have a nice wide open hole. Pull this a little closer to me. Pull our dipstick out of the way. Get in there. Now we're going to pop our coils out. Just going to set them in that little wiper cowl area right there. Don't matter what order, they're all the same coil. Put your bolts somewhere safe. Alright, now we're going to start taking these bolts off on this valve cover. First I'm going to take that PCV hose out of my way. Sorry about the background noise. I got my fans running today. It's in the 80s, getting hotter. My favorite time of year. Not, especially when you're working on cars in this heat. If you love summer, you don't work in the heat. I promise you that. This little harness right here on the back side of the valve cover. It's going to be blocking our bolts on the back. You can't really mix these up. All these bolts are the same except for the coil bolts. They're a little longer. That's for our fuel injector wires. Just kind of lean that out of your way if you can. You don't really have to unplug nothing. Alright. Now, that 1, 2. I have to have an extension for that one. Probably just a little stubby one will work if I can get it out. Come here. My fat fingers won't fit in that hole. Okay. I think there's 4 on the back side of this. Okay. To retrieve your bolts. We can't mix those up. Those obviously they look a lot different. Now these 2 bolts with the little nipple on top, those go in the corners where the cover grommets click on. Make sure you put those back in the same spot. Pretty sure that's it. 1, 2, 3. They're all the same but those 2, and those go in the corners. Now that's going to generally be kind of stuck on there, so just grab you a little flathead screwdriver, just kind of work the corners here, pry up on her just like that. Now I'm going to flip it over and get the old gasket out. If it comes out easily, hopefully makes my life easier when it does. Now don't throw that away yet, because we're going to match it up with this new one, because this one does not have grommets on the holes, so that's got me kind of concerned. These little grommets where the spark plugs go usually pop over or pop inside, but this doesn't have that style. Spark plugs sit on the outside of the head, not in the middle of the head like some Hondas. So hopefully this gasket's right. It seems like when I want to make a video is when I get all the wrong parts. Alright. It could just be for a different application, and the gasket might be the same. It looks like it might be the same, so maybe we got lucky here. These we're not using, obviously. I'm just going to discard those or save them if you want to. Might need one day if you damage one, putting them in. Now, this gasket should hold itself in. No need for any RTV or any glue like that. Generally, I'll take a rag and I'll wipe around the area, making sure there's no dirt or debris in my way. Try to wipe it to where you don't get it inside the engine. Wipe outwards. Get the sealing surface nice and dry. Get all that old RTV off. Scrape it lightly with a little flathead. Alright. Now it's going to be a little uneven right here, so I'll take a little bit of RTV to replace what I scraped off. Put a little bead. Just like that. No need to do it on the back side. Alright, make sure your gasket's seated well in there so you don't pinch it and have a leak. There you go. Set her down like that. Get all your bolts started. Now the back side, the tight ones. All right. Okay, we got all those started. Start running those down. Now pay attention how I'm doing this, just till it touches. I'm just going to go kind of in a crisscross pattern, nice and even. Alright, I'm just going to grab a 1/4 inch ratchet here and tighten them by hand. Don't get too crazy on them, you'll pinch the gasket. Just nice and snug. That's why you use a small ratchet, so you don't put a lot of torque on it. With something long, you can judge better with the small ratchet. Alright. Grab your 2 tins for the back harness, fuel injector harness. We'll run those down. Alright, go ahead and put our PCV hose back on. This one's nice and soft and not hard, because when they're hard they break. Harness back on now, and we're going to change the spark plugs last before we put our coils back on. Oh yeah, I forgot. You got to slide that back in, that little track right there. Got 2 tins started. You can go ahead and run those down too. That way all we're left with is the spark plugs. I'm going to go ahead and secure all this too while I'm here. Finish this part, then we're just focused on the tune-up. Put your little boot back over to protect it from arcing. Alright, plug everything back in. Might take a zip tie after I'm done with the tune-up and secure that. Plug our alternator back in. Alright, now we just focus on the spark plugs. Get that out of my way. Yep, I'm going to have to warranty out this again when I just got it warranted. It's supposed to be magnetic and it's not magneting, if you get what I mean. So, I'm going to take my magnet here and do what the socket's supposed to do. The Denzos came out and we're putting NGKs back in. Either or is fine. Just don't use cheap spark plugs. That's all I'm saying. Can't go wrong with NGK or Denso. Make sure your tips are not bent there. You do not gap these plugs. You'll damage them trying to gap them. Just make sure that they're not bent, which they shouldn't be unless they got dropped. Alright, get them all started a few turns. Now I know y'all are cringing when I do this, but I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I know how to control my tools. I'm just gonna give them a final little snug. All right. And stick that back in. All right, now plug them back in. Pop your little cover back on. tools out of the way. I'm gonna lose these gloves because my hands are sweating. Oh, gotta put this back on. Ain't gonna start with that off. Should are tight. Still got to do brakes on this. Might do a video on that too. Alright, go back and park. A couple snap throttles, making sure it's not misfiring. Feels smooth to me. Now I'm going to knock these brakes out. And it feels good sitting down in this car. It's got good AC. Anyways, enough of that, enough talk. I hope y'all like this video. Y'all please subscribe. Please check like down below. Y'all have a good day. Peace out, YouTube.